Golden Jubilee expedition on Mount Kamath, a peak of around 26,000 feet. It was followed by two regimental expeditions on a peak of Apsarasas 1 and 2. Then he was also part of the first Army Everest expedition in 1985 and also followed by RIMC expedition to Black Peak, right? And after that, sir has had a very illustrious career in army, and he was also the commandant of Rashtriya Indian Military College, RIMC Dehradun. During his service, he has also done the interim officers course, and presently he is the director at Karan Satsangi Memorial School at Delhi. So we are really fortunate that he has accepted our request to come and speak to our future generation of armed forces officers, and hopeful that many from them, if not all, I hope that all of them do well and become officers. So your words, your motivation will help them achieve their aims. So may I request you to kindly address the students.
We've already greeted each other, and so good, that I am here. In fact, Colonel LP has been requesting to come over, at least to have a look-see at the place. No one couldn't so far. I relocated myself from Gurgaon Patna to Gurgaon in April this year. And now I'm here at CS camp, as mentioned. And that happens to be a residential come day boarding school. And so one has to spend some time there. But it's great to be here. And when I see this almost room filled with energy and these students or the candidates who are all pepped up and charged up to join the Indian Armed Forces. So I was, having a little conversation, small talk regarding the entries और कौन-कौन यहाँ पर बैठे हैं. तो जैसा बताया Colonel MP ने, so we have people from armed forces, Army, Navy, Air Force. Then we also have a few NDA, then AFCAT, and CDS entries also. I see some of the girls, ladies, NDA.
Two of them.
NDA. Okay, good. So this is the recent written test. Qualified. Okay, very nice. Absolutely tremendous. Right. So now, why I'm here. Anybody? Why I'm here? क्यों मैं हूँ?
Sir, to motivate us.
To motivate you. आप? Then 59.
To motivate and interact with us.
No, anything else? Motivate उन्होंने बोल दिया.
Share your experience.
Share experience, okay.
Moral courage.
Moral courage. इधर से कोई? All right. Think something very different. कि मैं क्यों हूँ यहाँ? आपके पास क्यों आया?
Guidance.
हैं?
Guidance the right path.
Say something different. I am here because you all wanted me to be here. How this works? This is the energy which is working. You wanted me to be here, and that is why I am here. Not to guide you, not to motivate you, not to do whatever, probably which I will do, a few maybe sharing of experience. But why I am here? Because you wanted me to be here. And this energy works in this cosmos, in this universe. तो हम जो सोचते हैं, जो चाहते हैं, जो हमारे दिल में होता है, वो that happens, that works. Why it didn't happen so far, I don't know, but it happened today. So there would be many other things, but amongst many things else, I am here because you all wanted me to be here. There are many people who probably wanted me to be here. And likewise, what happens if you try this analogy on yourself? आप कहाँ जाना चाहते हैं? 58. आप क्या करना चाहते हैं? आप यहाँ पर क्यों हैं?
Sir, I want to become an army.
Why?
Because of sir, I have this type of qualities and I am building myself to command.
What else? What will happen if you join armed forces? There are so many officers already. So how will your joining make a difference in armed forces? Are you joining for yourself or for the armed forces or for a larger purpose of life? क्या चीज वो solution होगा या मिलेगा या achieve होगे अगर आप फौज ज्वाइन करते हैं? What will happen?
Sir, I will do my best and now I am a serving person.
Okay.
So I know background of the wars. So I will develop that I think that it should be developed in army.
Right.
From the ground.
Can you think beyond? Can you think more? Can you set your goals, purpose of your life higher than? ठीक है, एनडीए, आईएमए, ये ऑफिसर, प्रॉब्लली फिर आप बोलेंगे हम ब्रिगेडियर जनरल बनना चाहते हैं. Is it anybody else? Anything different than what mentioning? Yes, please.
So I can prove my worth to my organization.
You can prove your worth to your organization. So what will happen? What will that do to you or to the organization? क्या होगा?
I will
Serve your organization. What else? There are many people who are already serving. So by your joining, what difference will that you make to the organization? क्या करेगा? Think you are what? You are a soldier? Army, Navy, Air Force.
Army.
Army. Which regiment, unit, battalion?
So 163 field there.
Field regiment. How many years have you served in your regiment?
5 years.
5 years. So last 5 years, I am sure, of course, the fact that all of you are here, that itself is an achievement in the way that you are separated from the other crowd. कि आप यहाँ पर अगर 80 लोग इधर बैठे हैं तो आप ऑलरेडी अचीव कर रहे हैं और you are different from them. Now in the last 5 years in the regiment, again you probably have made some difference and you have the quality and capability to you are sitting here. What more you think you will do in case you become an officer? So how will you make the difference in wherever, whether it is party or any other regiment that you go to?
So as I also played as a football team captain,
Okay.
and many times I got an opportunity to lead a team. So I think if I get clear, then I will lead my organization in a well manner.
Okay, so you will lead your organization in a well manner, so in an effective manner. Right. Sit down. So you know what I am trying to say. What I am saying is, can you raise the level of raise the purpose of your life? That is one. Second, what I said is, can you have that energy or make that powerful thought, create that powerful thought within yourself of achieving your goal, right? So you want to join the armed forces, you want to become an officer, but have you written down this goal somewhere? And then after writing down that goal, has it then what all needs to be done? That probably you will have to figure out, right? So let me just very briefly, if we are talking of what do motivation, what is motivation for you? Anybody?
Sir, the seal.
Seal. Okay. What else? Goal.
Goal.
Right. The journey. Okay.
Myself.
So somebody said zeal,
Energy.
myself,
The adventurous and
journey.
respectful life.
energy,
बलिदान मैच.
journey. Okay. What else?
Adventurous and respectful life.
Say again.
Adventurous and respectful life.
Adventurous and respectful life. So that will motivate you.
Motivates.
That will motivate you. So maybe this will be part of goal. What else?
Legacy. Legacy and trust of others.
Yeah, so you would like to leave a legacy for yourself.
I would like to forward the legacy of armed forces forward.
Okay, fine.
Asset.
So if this gentleman has mentioned that legacy. So what is need? I take you to the next point. Legacy means something that is not normal. It's something beyond your mundane requirements. So probably he normal roti, kapda, makan kind nahi hai. Thoughts, self-respect, and beyond that, he's thinking. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so something more powerful which will help him. So we will talk about it. And there is another thing which is there, which is the belief system. So now just think for a while, if I am to be motivated to join whatever, we have to have a goal. Right? So abhi apne bataya, most of us, you would like to become an officer. Right? Okay. And then what you will do, that's fine. But what happens is that, beyond that, it is not just become goal. So apna become this one. So how do you further, do this? What else, is involved in goal setting? What all you need to do? केवल सोचने से क्या होगा? होगा? नहीं होगा. तो हमको करना पड़ेगा. उसके बारे में क्या करना पड़ेगा? You have to mention, like that, this person mentioned that I want to become an officer. So then you have to ask yourself, how will you become an officer? So you have to then, there is this, you must have heard this acronym, SMART, have you heard? You are aware about this? Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So what you have to do, why we, many of us fail in our goal, because we don't specify, we don't do this exercise. हमको बनना है ऑफिसर, अच्छा ठीक है, तो बनना है ऑफिसर तो आप इधर आए हैं, ट्रेनिंग कर रहे हैं, ओके ठीक है, व्हाट एल्स, आप क्या तैयारी कर रहे हैं, आपने स्पेसिफिक मुझे ऑफिसर बनना है, कैसे बनना है, so has to be some measure by doing this to come good in all those three assessments. Yes, medically I have to be fit, so all that measurable, it has to be measured. Then achievable. Now again you have to see, okay, good that you want to do that, but we also need to see, is it achievable target or no, or to what extent, in terms of your capacity, in terms of the opportunity, in terms of your education, in terms of your capability. Here, okay, in these 3 weeks, probably you are trying to bridge that gap also, you're trying to make achievable, you're trying to that measure whatever gaps are there, that you are trying to fill. Yes? Right, and even relevant. Right, so relevant in the sense you are becoming an officer, that शुरू में जो मैंने आपसे सवाल पूछा कि आपका ऑफिसर बनना, okay, आपके लिए अच्छी बात है. What else? And how will the society, gain? So even that you need to look at it. And then of course, the specific thing is there, time-bound manner. So that's very important. And I would request that all of, while you are here in this first or second week, As of now, you are in which week?
Second week.
Second week. So whatever ये जो even officer बनना, आप ये try कीजिएगा. So second week में आप लिखिए अपने पास कि भाई हम लोग क्या कर रहे हैं, क्या करना चाह रहे हैं, ठीक है? And try this also, this acronym SMART for us. So you will find that there are many other points which will emerge and which will come from your, this once you start writing that what you wish to do and what you want to become and why. Then you will ask more questions to yourself. All right. So this is, on that first aspect of this. So we have to be really own that goal. Own that goal. कहने कि हम इधर ऐसे घूमने के लिए आए नहीं. Okay. The next one, this need level one. Where are we? I'm sure most of us, in the sense who are here, your needs are fulfilled to a great extent. Some are students, some are service people. Basic needs, physiological needs, respect for self-respect. So those hierarchy needs, you have to be. And so it's not that कि चलो ठीक है ऑफिसर में बन जाता हूँ या पर फौजी या कहीं भी नहीं. जब आप ऑफिसर अपने 30 साल या 40 साल पहले या हम अपनी जनरेशन की बात करते हैं, हर एक अफसर अब भी बात करते हैं कि हमारे समय में, बट हम लोग भी. और अभी कई बार जब हम देखते हैं कि भाई आज ऑफिसर शॉर्टेज क्यों हो रहा है, डेफिशिएंसी क्यों हो रहा है, क्यों जो हैं कई लोग जो अच्छे हैं कर सकते हैं, दे डोंट वांट टू वर्क, एंड देयर आर पीपल हु still need to improve their capabilities but want to go. And then some of you are here who are training yourself so that you reach that level and join, the armed forces as officers, right? So this need level you have to move up the level. And when you will go for the even SSB, so whether it is GTO, the IO or the psychologist, and all these tests that you will be taking, and you are studying, your psychology or the OQ, or even the GTO, the task that you will do, and the interview that you will have with the IO. So all that will be assessing, the level will be very high. And all your aspects of personality, to the extent of, forget about physical, everybody will be there. But in terms of your cognitive ability, the mental ability, the social ability, the emotional ability, to an extent, spiritual ability, these will be tested. Right? And so then, if you are fit, then you will probably be selected. Belief system is the third aspect of this. Many of us, like again, the first when I asked you, that how positive you are in your thought process. How positive you are in a thought process. Because what happens once you say, कि अच्छा ये होगा, ये करना होगा. Like a dialogue का आपको सलमान खान कि भाई मैं अपनी भी नहीं सुनता हूँ कहीं. So that you need to have that kind of belief system when you create that this has to be done, this will happen, and you don't have any doubt in your mind. Like last about a year or so, ये मैं कई बार ये sentence लिखता था, अच्छा मैं कोशिश करूँगा. किसने बोला सर कल घर आइएगा या कल ये कीजिएगा, I will try. I have removed this word try from my vocabulary. I have removed this, and it has helped. Very often, that लिखना चाहता हूँ, try. मैंने हटा दिया, तो क्या हुआ? What has happened is that I am not starting with a doubt in my mind. I am not starting, अच्छा, and then I give myself allowance. नहीं भी करूँगा तो ओके ठीक है, चलो हमने बोला था कि शायद कोशिश करेंगे तो कोशिश नहीं हुआ. No, so I have removed that, and I have found myself that it has worked to my advantage. It has worked to my advantage. If I will do, fine. If I am not doing, okay. Right? So this is the other thing of belief system, that you need to have a very, very positive belief system. Right? And then everything, that power of attraction, there are so many things. We are talking of visualization, for example. These days, हो रहा है. अच्छा, आप अपने आप को visualize कीजिए कि हम ऑफिसर बन गए हैं already, and then every day, morning and evening before sleeping, you tell yourself, I'm an officer. Probably, revise in your mind or tell your mind, I'm an officer, right? So everything, the whole system in your body, in your mind works toward that, creating that mindset, right? And once you visualize and then you are affirming also. आप अपने आप को अफर्म कर रहे हैं, आप देख रहे हैं आप अपने आप को अफसर, फिर आप डेली आप बता रहे हैं, तो क्या हो रहा है, आप सबकॉन्शियसली अपने आप माइंड में आप उसको आप पढ़ रहे हैं। एक आप बुक है बड़ा अच्छा, पावर ऑफ सबकॉन्शियस माइंड, आई नो सम ऑफ यू मे हैव रेड इट। So here again, so what is happening actually? Now subconscious mind is that any action that I do or anything that I do, speak or think, that is gone into my subconscious, and subsequent action is decided based on that subconscious thing which is happening. So every subconscious aspect gets converted into decision. आप समझ रहे हैं? तो इवन जो बिलीफ सिस्टम या जो संस्कार हम बोल रहे हैं, आपने कुछ किया, आपको सक्सेस मिला, तो वो संस्कार बन गया, आपको बिलीफ में आ गया, अच्छा ऐसे मैं करता हूँ तो ये सक्सेस मिलता है, फिर आप वो आगे काम करते हैं, राइट? So this again, so the subconscious wala thing. So again, getting back on the, if the relevant to our thing is that tell yourself that I am there. Even while you are doing this SSB 3 weeks, now you are into the second week. So tell yourself. So that is the other thing. Let me give you one or two examples. One is Kakori Takaks. This is a Turkish shooter. Old fellow. This was 36 की बात है, 1936. So he was soldier in the army, but he could not participate in that Olympics because there was an IED blast and he injured his right hand. You heard about it? Yes, sir. Okay, well, good. So then you know it. Who all know about this story? Would you like to share?
Yes, sir.
Okay, right?
So he was a soldier and he was a very good shooter. He used to shoot from his right hand. Usually shooters are the right-handers, so they shoot from the right hand. But he lost his hand in a grenade blast, because of which he could not participate later in the Olympics. But he decided to train himself in a way that he can shoot and compete to others at the same level with his left hand. He trained himself so much that he prepared himself for the next Olympics and he participated in that to the first position.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So 36 and thereafter 40, 44, because of World War it didn't happen, and then like she mentioned, I think 46 and then again 52. So imagine with left hand, so the kind of power that this individual generated. And there is another story of there is a lady from Zimbabwe, but of course, so that is terrorized trend. So this goal setting. So I am not going to detail it, it will take time. But what she had her goal, she had written it on a piece of paper and buried under the earth. Right? And then after some time, very poor family, no support. But some people from abroad came, some NGO, and then helped her, found this girl, then tried to sort of confirm to her that we will support you. And then this girl then was taken abroad, trained, and then became so she wanted to become a professor. And so finally, after almost about 15-20 years, she became a professor. So she always had that in mind, and she was absolutely had that thing, mujhe ye karna hai, mujhe karna hai, mujhe karna hai. And then so the world got around her and created that situation, and then she achieved her thing, right? Okay. Now this armed forces, we were talking that what will happen, or this goal, you want to join armed forces. So that is that kind of motivation. So at least at this stage, all of us want to join armed forces for a variety of reasons, perks and adventure and money and so on and so forth. Right? So I'm sure about armed forces you would all get to know and what all is happening, what are the situations that you get to read. So one or two even situation which I can tell you. You know, let's say when one was posted in Sikkim, and what had happened that we went on a special mission patrol. Special mission patrol, we had a company commander, he was chosen by the GOC himself. 80 people were there, 2 platoons of Gadwal, 1 of ours. I was taking this, I was called from some post. I came down and I did not have proper briefing. However, I continued, and after some time, few hours, you know, this major company commander mentioned, Prem, you know, we are lost. I don't know where we are. मेरा दिमाग काम नहीं कर रहा है. मैंने कहा, sir, don't worry, we will manage. And just, you know, a year before, so I had done this expedition in a mountaineering in 82, Golden Jubilee, IMA Golden Jubilee expedition. So I had that confidence and not to worry. So I told him, sir, आप रुक जाइए, wherever you are, you stay. And so then, you know, I followed the footsteps of this one. On this, no, this is happening at 15,000 feet, right? 15,000 feet. And then, after some time, then we could establish contact, but only this, we lost the communication with the, you know, people at the rear. I climbed up one party, and then we were able to communicate, and then we got, you know, this ration drop. Now this about 4 days had passed, you know, all this thing was happening. And at least, you know, the men who were there, many of them, they felt कि भाई क्या होगा? अभी हम जिंदा भी रहेंगे, नहीं रहेंगे, हम लॉस्ट हो गए, हमारा इमरजेंसी राशन भी सब खत्म हो गया, 15,000 फीट की बात हो रही है, हम लोग, you know, with the juniper trees, we were trying to melt water with this ice, and then, you know, drink water, जो मसाला बचे हुए थे, वो हम लोग मिला करके पी रहे थे. और मैंने आदेश था वो एनसीओ को भी जेसीओ के मेरे आदेश पे ये दिया जाएगा जो भी जो जैकेट के हमारे कोट पार्का में पड़े हुए. But then, you know that as an officer, you face that situation, but you have trained yourself. Probably I had little advantage of little mountaineering thing, but the fact is that as officer you are trained here more than physical, right? In your mind. And so, even there was one or two, you know, soldiers who were given, you know, mouth-to-mouth respiration. किसी का बैग पीछे छोड़ दिया उधर. तो मैं ये कह रहा हूँ कि you see, you are going to be an officer, so you have to be there. You have to be there. And even in subsequent expedition, एक जॉनसन expedition after वायोस के बाद में गया, हमारे उसमें कुछ जवान राजरिफ के थे. उसमें तो बहुत सारे थे मेरे से लंबे चौड़े, बट अगेन हम लोग जब 21,000 22,000 फीट पे जब पहुंचे तो वहाँ फिजिकल फिटनेस कम, उधर मेंटल फिटनेस ज़्यादा काम करता है. तो इवन, you know, there was one or two soldiers की सर कैसे होगा, कहाँ जाएंगे, क्या होगा, मैंने कहा डॉक्टर. Right, so that is the kind of situation that you get into, which you have to be, you know, motivated to. I think. And of course, Siachen Glacier, so there are a lot of opportunities when you know, let me just check if I have and take, I think, 2-3 minutes and ask if you may have, you know, some anxiety kind. कितने लोग हैं अभी भी anxiety है कि SSB होगा नहीं होगा, कोई है? कितने लोग हैं? या पलटन बोलेगी पता नहीं क्या हुआ, या घर में फादर या मदर बोलेंगे कि भाई या फ्रेंड है, 3-4 लोग हैं, बाकी लोगों को कुछ नहीं है, बड़ी चिल करो, जाएंगे एंजॉय करेंगे SSB. Yeah, so how do we manage that anxiety? Anyone? With good preparation. Okay. What else?
Self-motivation.
Motivation, of course. Self-belief, absolutely, right. Being confident. You know, so I have again found one very good answer. And two sort of interpretation or two different things. One is that if you can do something about it, SSB, and so do it. If you cannot do anything, you just forget it. So for SSB, what you can do? You can prepare what you are doing now. You prepare your best, put in your best. Whatever you have done so far, plus what you will do 3 weeks here. Do your best. SSB, you cannot become assessor, can you? You cannot. यहाँ कोई सिफारिश नहीं होता है कि भाई मंत्री से फोन कराएंगे so that doesn't work. right? So you cannot do anything about it. So why worry? आपके काबू में क्या है? तैयारी करना है. So do that, right? So this is important, and this one. The other also thing is that whatever is acceptable, you accept that. What you cannot sort of change the changeable. एक बोलते हैं जो चेंज कर सकते हैं आप उसको आप चेंज करिए, जो आपके ऊपर है, आपके जो इंस्ट्रक्टर्स हैं यहाँ वो आप कर सकते हैं. एक्सेप्ट द अनचेंजेबल, accept the unchangeable and rise above all. Accept the unchangeable means अच्छा अपने आप को आप बोल रहे हैं बट कुछ चीजें आप नहीं कर सकते. जैसे हुआ जो कहानी है काबिलियत की भाई अगर आप मछली को बोलेंगे पेड़ पर चढ़ने के लिए, then you are trying to assess the काबिलियत of मछली, so that will not happen immediate future में. It may happen tomorrow, who knows? Some मछली may come, it may happen. But today it's not happening, right? So change the changeable, accept the unchangeable, and rise above all. So this is the other thing. So this anxiety thing, especially the IO, with my experience also I see that when you go for the interview and you are complete, you are sitting there, IO is here, you are in full view of the IO. So आप ऊपर से नीचे तक IO देख रहे हैं. Even before that, actually the room से जब आप रूम में आते हैं उसी समय में आप दैट इंप्रेशन आप क्रिएट करते हैं. तो कैसे आपने नॉक डोर किया, may I come in sir, may I come in sir? Okay, not also very dramatized, but at least giant sir. Can you have that energy? So that first impression you will create within that 7 seconds they say, or even maybe less. So the moment that experienced person that IO checks you, please sit down. Thank you, sir. And then our seating arrangement, आपका body language ऊपर से नीचे कैसा हो रहा है, आपके expression, आपके eye movement, eye contact, तो क्या सब आप मेरे आंखों में देख रहे हैं या लेफ्ट राइट देख रहे हैं, आपका हाथ किधर है, ये फोल्डेड हैंड, ये गलत है ना, आपका इधर नाक मुंह छूना सिर, it is not supposed to be there, right? So sit properly. Even this. Another thing which I have developed in last year or two is, when I am talking, या ऐसे या कई लोग अभी मान लीजिए नॉर्मल लेक्चर या मैं बातचीत कर रहा हूँ, माइक अगर नहीं होता तो मैं ऐसे बात कर रहा हूँ या घूम रहा हूँ, दिस कॉर्डलेस माइक से. एंड सो दिस मूवमेंट नाउ ये वाला ये विश्राम पोजीशन या ये वाला पोजीशन है. So this is again not the best. For the best position they say the steeple position like this. You see my hand. So this gives a impression or conveys confidence. So even when you are taking a lecture, with the GTO, so you do this. When you are talking, you are having this steeple position, right? आपका ग्रुप सामने बैठ बैठा हुआ है, आप इधर खड़े हैं, आप ठीक है, स्माइल है चेहरे पे, बात कर रहे हैं, जैसे that confidence, right? So then this will help. And so जो मैं ये anxiety की बात में कर रहा था, so don't be anxious. Just work on yourself and then leave the rest to whatever they have to decide. So there is an interesting book. अगर मौका मिलेगा तो positive psychology है, and there are related books that people have also written. But this is the author called Chick Me High, Chick Me Sai High. So there is a complicated kind of name. But forget about name. What is written here? That you need to raise the level of your target to stay energized. स्कूल में भी देखा होगा कई बार, या अगर आप देखते हैं कुछ गिफ्टेड चिल्ड्रन हैं या कुछ बच्चे हैं जो बाकी से अच्छा करते हैं, उनको अगर चैलेंज अच्छा होता है तो दे परफॉर्म बेटर. इफ इट इज नॉट देयर देन दे डोंट डू इट. Then in our life we see there are many people who are going into space. There are people who are doing this hot air balloon. There are many people who are going to Everest and many other mountains without oxygen, right? So there are some people out of so many lakhs and billions. So what is happening? That is means they create that flow in them, which helps them so that targets are set very high. Of course, considering that smart people, they then train. Like this Reynold Messner for mountaineer, who has climbed all 14, 8,000 feet. He would climb with this, he has written that book called High Ambition, an 8th grade वो book लिखा है. तो वो headlamp लगा करके रात में he would practice rock climbing and mountain. And he would go without oxygen जाना था Everest पे, so he would fly in the aircraft without oxygen, right? So then he trained himself to do that. Okay, so you need to raise. So that book flow, that is what it talks about. In case we have the challenges are greater, we get motivated, to do much better. So this you could look at also again. Some are happiness, generating encouragement, motivation, all these, here, brain. So if you keep that aspect, these aspects of brain, you know the functioning of brain a little bit. So that will be able to help you to understand your brain better. The खासकर, let's say, जवानों के लिए, okay, and the service entry. Okay, your education may be there, 10th or 12th or graduation, or even others who may not have done enough. But even a little bit on that aspect, it helps. Like, आप मजबूत कर सकते हैं अपने ब्रेन को, दिमाग को, तो बाकी काम भी आपका अच्छा होगा, आपके माइंड को भी आप स्ट्रॉन्ग कर सकते हैं. And then you will be able to achieve much more than what you are capable of. आप अपने स्टैंडर्ड्स को बढ़ा सकते हैं. हाई जंप में होता है ना, तो बार ऊंचा होता रहता है, होता है नहीं? हाँ, तो अगर आप अपने इसको भी आप हाई करते रहेंगे तो आप ऊंचा पहुंचेंगे. But you have to aspire to be there, and so you keep raising that bar. So that is another point which will help you. And one important thing, probably last before I close, is your image, self-image. Like I was sharing with Kanlan, this little training also, last 2-3 years, the pandemic also, which I did. So that has also helped me as well. So what is the image? अगर मैं जैसे इधर खड़ा हूँ, एक इमेज होगा आपका, या एक मैं ऐसे खड़ा हूँ, एक इमेज होगा. दूसरा मैं अगर कोई दूसरा ड्रेस नॉर्मल पहन करके आता तो एक इमेज होता, ठीक है. और मैं अगर बातचीत आपसे कर रहा हूँ, अगर कोई ढीला बातचीत करता तो एक इमेज होता, है कि नहीं? तो जो इमेज जो हमारा है वो बड़ा इम्पोर्टेंट है. And this image, and it is said that you cannot outperform your self-image. यानी जो आप अपने बारे में जो सोचते हैं, उससे आप ज्यादा नहीं कर सकते. आपने सोचा अच्छा मैं ये हूँ तो मेरी ये काबिलियत है, मैं नहीं करता हूँ, तो ये है तो मैं इधर करूँ. लेकिन अगर आप ये सेल्फ इमेज को आप ऊंचा कर देते हैं और भी, तो आप और भी ज्यादा अचीव कर सकते हैं, राइट? You can raise this change the paradigm, as they say. Paradigm means measurement or what we think in our mind. So that you change. So you change the image that you have. You change the image that I have. Today there is so much, gender, I'm not talking really about gender bias, but many girls or the ladies, अच्छा, मैं लड़की हूँ, मैं औरत हूँ, ये मेरा काम है, नहीं है. So stereotypes फीड हो गए हैं सोसाइटी में. But today we are seeing that कुछ भी काम नहीं है, दोनों बराबर हैं और दोनों भी गर्ल बॉय बराबरी का काम करते हैं. So there is nothing which boy or girl cannot. Yes, and so therefore this image has to be changed. That self-image has to be absolutely, in the sense, there in consonance with the purpose that you have in life. So raise that, and there is again, but there is something called, if you can write down, you can try and read it later on. Psycho-cybernetics. Psycho-cybernetics. Cybernetic is normal, a machine actually which controls and assesses and evaluates. Cybernetic वो होता है, change करते रहता है, अनुसार जैसा environment वगैरह. Psycho-cybernetic is related to your psyche, related to your human, related to your image. So the crux of that is that you have an image which you create for yourself, which other people think about you, and it also has influence impacts on your success or otherwise. Right? So this psycho-cybernetics also, can be developed, can be built. It's very much possible. There is this squadron leader Tulika Rani का नाम सुना आप लोगों ने? Tulika Rani Air Force का है कुछ जवान इधर? Okay. So they know this. So the squadron leader Tulika Rani, so she was in the Air Force short service for about 10 years, and then so they had gone for the Everest expedition, but she could not make it at that time. But after leaving Air Force, within 2-3 years, she did that. And then, of course, now she is a motivational speaker. The other day I met her. This there was some activity happening somewhere. So there are many such people, and we know about it. I'm sure you must be reading about it, and during classes you must be happening. You must be also being educated on that. So what I'm saying is that create that kind of image which I mentioned. Visualize that you are there, and any and everybody, can. However, no anxiety of any kind. Like anything. So, yes. I think these are the things which I wanted to share with you. And so I hope it is relevant and makes some sense. And anything else that related to what I said, plus anything about SSB that you wish to ask. So, I'm open to questions if any.